Am I the asshole for looking at public records to see why my husband's friend went to prison? I, 35 female, have been married to Jack, 35 male, for 9 years now. No kids. My husband reconnected with his childhood best friend, Denver, 5 years ago. He's a really nice guy. I became really close with his wife, Cassie. We all hang out weekly since they moved super close to us 3 years ago. A few years ago, I remember asking my husband why he and Denver lost touch since they got along so well. He kind of shrugged and said, oh, life stuff. I was like, yeah, I get it, and moved on. We invited Denver and Cassie to join us on a week-long camping trip. On the second night, we sat by the fire just talking and drinking beers. Denver made a really good meal for us out of just random snack food ingredients. I asked how he learned to make this stuff, but he laughed and said, well, in prison, you learn to get pretty creative. I tried to hide my surprise, but obviously failed. Denver was confused and said, what, you didn't know? I spent the majority of my 20s in prison. He looked at Jack and said, seriously, dude, you didn't tell her? Jack just shrugged. I was like, no, I didn't know, and tried to pivot the conversation. It was awkward for a split second, but we moved on. I assumed Jack didn't tell me because he wanted to respect his friend's privacy. It happened in the past, and it's not my business. However, I'm not gonna lie, I got super curious and looked up his public records to see what happened. After, I was like, oh, okay. Then, anyways, and didn't think about it or bring it up the rest of the trip. It wasn't until after the trip my husband asked me to be honest with him and asked if I'd looked up Denver's records. I shrugged and said, yeah, I did, but it obviously doesn't matter or change anything. Jack was visibly angry and asked why I didn't ask Denver myself. I was confused and was like, I didn't think you were supposed to ask stuff like that. He said, then wouldn't that give you a clue? Maybe it's not okay to go poking your nose where it doesn't belong. I pointed out that Denver was actually surprised I didn't know, so he clearly doesn't treat it like it's some huge secret. I assumed it wasn't a big deal since he mentioned it so casually. I also admitted I was just curious too. Jack then accused me of making a big deal out of it. I said, no, I'm not. To be honest, I don't understand why we are even having this conversation. Jack yelled at me to stop acting dense, and I'm missing the point. I told him, if anything, he's the one making a big deal out of it. I didn't even bring it up, he did. Plus, it's literally public information anyone can see anonymously. We went back and forth until I called a timeout. We agreed to both take time to cool our heads and talk it out later. Honestly, I have no idea why he's getting so upset over this. Sure, curiosity killed the cat, but I kept it to myself. I didn't even think to bring it up or make it a conversation, even in private with my husband. Because, like I said, it doesn't matter to me at the end of the day. It's not like he's a pedo or beats women, so who am I to judge? Just to clarify, since I'm sure this comment will suggest this, I am not and have never been a gossiper/venter. So, am I the asshole?